Hello everybody and welcome back once again. Today's lesson we are going to be looking at functions and the function library in Microsoft Excel. So let's get into it. Alright, so yeah, I'm uploading. I'm always recording and uploading. So what you guys want to do here is you guys want to go ahead and open up the practice document. As always, if you haven't already, hold Control on your keyboard and go ahead and click on the practice document and open this up. This is going to be an Excel workbook, and I think we have, again, 4 worksheets at the bottom. Oh, 3 worksheets at the very bottom. All right. It looks very similar to the last one we worked on. This is a purchase order, cookie sales, and then challenge. All right, cookie sales and challenge look very different than the last one we actually worked on. All right, and it says what it basically wants us to do is click on the purchase order worksheet and select cell D13. All right, so I'm going to go over to column D, and then I'm going to go down to row 13, and then I'm going to click here. All right, I'm going to go to the formulas tab, and you're going to notice that right here under the formulas tab I have a function library. And the thing that you're going to want to become most familiar with in the function library, although you want to become familiar with most of it, is this AutoSum tab. All right, and if you click this, you're going to notice that we have about 5 functions here that are the most popular functions. And if I click on the word sum, notice how I get this blue bounding box around all of my data that's above it. All right, if there were, and notice how it stops at the text. If there was a blank cell there, it would also stop there. So it'll select all the numbers above it automatically. So I can just press enter on my keyboard from here. And now if I click on cell D13 again, in my formulas tab up here, you can see that it's adding up cells D3 to D12. All right. And what are we going to do now? Oh, here. And practice this. I forgot to mention this. Alt plus equals is your keyboard shortcut for auto sum. So practice that. Go ahead and delete that. Click in there and press backspace. And then press Alt on your keyboard and then press equals. And notice how it does an auto sum for you, and you can just press enter. Isn't that the coolest thing you've ever seen in your whole life? I know. You're going to die. I know. In the cookie sales worksheet, select cell C10. Cookie sales. And we're going to go ahead and select cell C10. All right, I'm already clicked on it, but if you're not, go ahead and click right here with your white cursor. We're going to type in the equal sign, and we're going to type in the word average. And basically what we want to do is average all the cells, all the cells above it. And we're going to put the cell reference in parentheses just like this. All right, so let's start off by typing equals average. And notice how I get this little function window right here. I can press tab and it'll kind of do most of it for me. And then I can go ahead and type in my cell reference, which is C3 to C9. So I'm going to say C3. I should capitalize that so it looks better. And you don't have to. To C9. And then I'm going to close my parentheses, and notice how my blue bounding box is selected all the numbers above it. I can press enter on my keyboard now, and what it basically did was it added up all of these cells and then it divided it by the number of cells. So there's 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7 cells. So it added it all up and divided it by 7, so my total was 849, or my average was 849. All right, what else do we have to do here? In the purchase order worksheet, select cell B17. Purchase order worksheet. We're going to select cell B17. And what this does is, this is a function called Counta, and Counta. My students always say Counta. And it might be right. I don't know how to pronounce it. It might be Counta. I say Counta. Either way, this is a function that's going to count the number of non-empty cells. So if I had a blank cell, it actually wouldn't count it. So I'm going to actually start off by typing in equals count A, and notice now how I can just press tab on my keyboard. I can also just go ahead and click and drag my cell reference, close my parentheses and press enter, and now I have 10 here. There's another way I can do this, of course. If you are not good with typing in formulas by themselves, you can say insert function, and you can go ahead and type in count A, and then just press go. It'll automatically select or suggest a function for you, and you can double click on count A, and then it says, okay, what do you want the value to be? And you can go ahead and click and drag down. All right, and then press OK, and you'll get 10. All right, 2 different ways to do it. Doesn't matter. Some people like to hand type in their functions, and some people don't. So this one's kind of cool too. Is that all we have to do for count A? A3 to A12, yep, select cell G3. Alright, so what this does, this is a function that basically tells me the number of days between delivery. It tells me the number of days in transit, and it's called network. Network days, I believe is what it's called. I don't use it much. I think it's network days. Either way, if you can't remember the name of a function, you can just go over here to insert function and tell it what you would like to do. I would like it to count days, and then say go. And it's going to go ahead and suggest everything in its little library that will allow you to count days. And you can kind of scroll down and you'll see something called network days, which is the one that I was talking about. I'm going to double click on it, and I'm going to get this function window that opens up. And on the start day, I'm going to go ahead and select cell E3. And for the end date, I'm going to go ahead and click in cell F3. And when I click OK, it's going to tell me how many days it actually took to deliver that package. And I can double click on the corner. If I select cell G3, I can double click on the corner to go ahead and copy the formula all the way down using a relative cell reference from my previous lesson. If you haven't watched relative cell referencing yet, you will want to. Relative versus absolute cell referencing. All right. And let's see what else we have to do. So this one isn't in the directions yet, but I'll go ahead and write it in there as soon as I'm done recording the video, so it is all complete. But these right here, let's go ahead and fill these in. So I'm going to go ahead and, on the purchase order worksheet, I'm going to select cell B18, and I'm going to go ahead and insert a function that's going to tell me my most expensive item. All right, and you can see here my unit prices for all of my items. We can either do the most expensive item like total, like most expensive based on quantity, or we can just do most expensive for column C, which I think is better. Let's just do most expensive for column C. And in order to do that, I'm going to use a function called max. All right, so I'm going to go to the AutoSum library. I'm going to click on max. It's going to select the cell above it because that's a number, and it's like, hey, do you want me to do this cell? And no, I don't. So I'm just going to click and drag down the cells that I do want it to give me the maximum of, and then press enter on my keyboard. All right. Average days in transit, let's go ahead and do that too. That's an average function. So I'm going to go to AutoSum and click on average, and I'm going to go ahead and click and drag from G3 all the way down to G12, and then press enter on my keyboard. 3.8 days is the average transit day for me to go, all this good stuff. All right, click on the challenge worksheet here, and let's see what we have to do with this worksheet. All right, it says in cell F3, insert a function to calculate the average of the 4 scores from B3 to E3. So I'm going to click in cell F3, and I'm going to go ahead and go to AutoSum and click on average. And then I'm just going to go ahead and press enter on my keyboard because it's automatically selecting all of the numbers to the left. And notice how it stops at cell A3 because that's not a number, that is not a numerical value, and it's smart enough to know the difference. All right, and then I'm going to go ahead and pull this down or just double click. In fact, if you do double click and it goes down too far, you can just grab the fill handle and take it right back up in order to fix that. All right. So now this is what we're dealing with here. In cell B18, use AutoSum to insert a function that calculates the lowest score from B3 to B17. All right, so we're going to go ahead and click in cell B18, and we're going to go ahead and do what's called a minimum function. And it's going to pull the lowest score from the Unit 1, Quiz 1. And I'm going to go ahead and press Enter. So this is really cool too. I can use relative cell referencing to pull it over here, and it will go ahead and pull the lowest score from the rest of the quizzes as well. All right, I can do the same thing for median score. I can go to AutoSum here and do average. Median does mean average. And I can go ahead and select from B3 to B17 and press Enter. And then I can go ahead and pull this over. So I get an average for all 4 quizzes. And then let's go ahead and do a maximum. Alright, the trick here is that it's going to select the 2 numbers above it, which I don't want. Just like last time, I'm going to click and drag from B3 to B17, and I'm going to press Enter on my keyboard. And then I'm going to go ahead and grab the fill handle and pull it over. Alright. That's it. That's the end of the activity, guys. If you go ahead and click through here, we have 3 worksheets all filled out. And this was a little lesson on basically the function library, although there's so much more to learn with the function library. The function library has, I'm just going to say, probably hundreds of functions, and I've maybe used, 20 in my lifetime, which you probably will too. Anyway, I hope you enjoyed this. As always, if you like, go ahead and hit subscribe and then smash that like button. Thank you very much. Bye, guys.